Welcome! In this lesson, you will learn the basics on how to utilize the Terminal app, which is used by the Unix operating systems. This includes both Mac and Ubuntu operating systems. The equivalent of the Terminal app on Windows-based systems is the command prompt. In this lesson, we will explore three navigational commands: ls, cd, and pwd. To browse the equivalent commands for the Windows operating system's command prompt, see the notes below this video. Of course, there are differences between the terminals in Ubuntu and macOS, but in terms of basic operations, they are quite analogous to one another. Let us open the Terminal app. Simply search for Terminal and open. The Terminal app is a direct interface to the operating system's bash shell, which is a part of its Unix underpinnings. This means that the user is able to access the nitty-gritty, fine, low-level system details using the terminal. Essentially, when you see hackers in movies nowadays, when there is a ton of text being outputted on the screen, they are most likely using a terminal or an equivalent application. You will want to familiarize yourself with this tool, as it is what you will use to install, run, and manipulate Python-related items. Additionally, it will help you better understand how operating systems work. Since Unix-based operating systems are just a hierarchy of folders and files, we need to learn three core commands that will help us navigate through the system files. These three commands are ls, cd, and pwd. Note that the terminal is case sensitive, so it is very important to not make any typos when entering commands. However, Windows command prompt is not case sensitive. So ls is for viewing the directory that you are in. A directory is just a folder location. By default, most terminals will open to your home directory. So when we type ls, we can see all of the folders and files nested within our home directory, as such. Here we can see common locations such as the desktop, documents, and downloads, which if we open our Finder, we can see that it actually corresponds to exactly what we would see. So the terminal is just a reflection of what we see in our folders. Let's talk about arguments. Arguments in the terminal are often found after a dash, such as so. So for example, if you want to add an argument in our ls command that displays all files and folders, including the special hidden files, we type ls-a. And here we can see all the files and folders that start with a dot are actually hidden files that we were unable to view directly in our Finder. Add a second argument, that is ls-al, which will show all hidden files in the log format. So here we can see additional details in our columns. To view all of the available arguments, we can simply type man, which stands for manual, and then followed by the command. And here we can see, as we click enter, all the various commands. In our case, we used A, and we used L, which will be just down here. Next, cd is for changing directories, so that your terminal is pointing to a directory of your choice. In the Python context, we want to be in the directory where our Python files will be located. So if, for example, we want to point to our desktop, we know we are in the parent directory of the desktop. By typing ls, we found our desktop here. We type cd and then desktop. And now we will be located inside our desktop folder. If we type ls again, we can view all of the folders in our desktop, which in our case is just one over here. To return to the previous directory that we were just in, we can type cd-. And now just like that, we are in our most recent directory, which was the home folder. We can use tab to autofill what we are trying to type. For example, if I type cd-d, which in our options we know we have downloads, desktops, and documents, I can press tab. However, since there are multiple options, I will need to press tab twice to display all of them. In this case, we see all three: desktop, documents, and downloads. This is very useful when we are dealing with massive directories with many subfolders and files. We can type cd with ... to go to the parent directory. So in this case, it's users, and we can keep going up until we get to the very top. And as you can tell now, I'm still typing it, but we have been at the very top for quite some time now. Another good trick is by just typing cd with no parameters. This will take you to your home directory by default. And we can confirm by typing ls. We can also specify absolute paths by typing a slash first. For example, I can do cd/user. And just like that, I will be inside the user folder. As before, to view a more detailed summary of the cd command, we can go to the manual, man cd. And here we see all of the options and subparameters that can be used, along with its description. To get out of it, simply do Ctrl-Z. Finally, pwd simply shows you which directory we are currently in case we get lost. So for example, we can tell we are in user. Now if we go to cd, which would take us to our home directory, let's check if we actually are in our home directory. Fantastic. To summarize, ls views the contents of the directory, cd navigates through the directories, and pwd shows the directory that we are currently in. That's it. Those are the 3 main terminal commands that you will need to know in order to be an efficient and successful Python programmer. Now we are ready to set up our workspace. In the next video.